Representative Vicky Hartzler is sounding the alarm about the Department of Defense. One America's John Hines caught up with her and has more.
Congresswoman, I know you're a member of the House Armed Services Committee, and you asked a very simple question of the Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, and that was whether or not he would consider a Trump supporter or somebody who voted for President Trump a patriot. And what was his response?
Well, he dodged the question. The focus has been from the Department of Defense on trying to turn our military into extremists, and they had an entire stand down for an entire day where they brought everyone in to discuss extremism, yet they won't give a definition of what extremism is. And I asked what should be a very simple question: would you consider someone who supported President Trump as an extremist? He dodged the question. I have written 2 letters to the Department of Defense and the Pentagon and to him asking what is this definition, and the response has been crickets. They have not responded at all.
You asked the Secretary of Defense, whether or not a Trump supporter would be thought of as an extremist. He dodged the question. Do we know whether or not someone who identified on social media as being a supporter of the former president would be admitted or permitted to serve?
No, we do not. And that is very, very concerning. All he said is, well, this isn't political, but he would not answer the question. If you are men and women in uniform and you support President Trump, will that be viewed as extremism?
So the implication here is that a Trump supporter could be considered an extremist. They haven't defined that yet. And does this dovetail a little bit with what appears to be being propagated in the military, the encroaching notion of critical race theory in our armed services, would you say?
All of these actions are damaging our military. We have so many threats around the world, whether it be from China or Iran, North Korea, Russia. We should be focusing on that, not trying to divide our military, turn them against one another, promote distrust, and certainly trample on our First Amendment rights and our freedom of speech and being able to support whatever political candidate you want.
Of course, you serve on the Armed Services Committee. I know that there's a budget which came out with regard to spending for the military by the Biden administration, and I understand from some conservatives that they have serious reservations about the Biden administration's policy with regard to military spending. What seems to be at issue?
The priorities. President Biden's priorities are clearly not in keeping this nation safe and secure. He pluses up the rest of government 16%, and yet he cuts the Department of Defense by $4 billion, and he gives 0 new money to Homeland Security. There's only a few things we should be doing here in Washington, and providing for the common defense is the #1 thing that we should be doing. We have real threats facing our nation. China is on the rise. They have surpassed us in several military capabilities. They have the largest army and navy in the world, and they have more ballistic missiles than we do. And yet he is cutting our defense. We need to put in our priorities where they should be, and that's keeping Americans safe.
Congresswoman